Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews and Tate. Six WCS teams advanced to the boys and or girls, so 6 total, sub-state / sectional round, which we use it synonymously. I know you and I like sub-state.
Sub-state. It's traditional.
It's traditional. 6 teams, that's pretty good.
Really good. Very proud.
2 on the girls' side, 4 on the boys' side.
Yeah. About what you expected, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was possible that we might have another girl, because I thought Summit would be there in girls, so I was thinking maybe 7.
Yep.
But we came pretty close to maxing that thing out.
Hillsboro was a little bit better on the girls' side than we thought.
They were. They really were. They did a good job, making it to the sub-state, I think, for the first time since 2009 or 10. So a pretty good run there for Hillsboro's girls.
I'm trying to see that lady's name. Coach Carter, Jeanette Carter.
Oh, yeah, she was.
She and Sig had some battles. On the court and off.
I mean, I don't know if this is appropriate for the show. In fact, it might be a good segment. But I believe that might have been the situation where Coach Sig counted the Coach of the Year votes and said, Coach, you can't vote for yourself. She said, I thought I deserved it.
Already did. Hey, kids. And if I recall the story correctly, did not back down on it. Did not recant the vote.
No. I was like, no, actually, I knew what I was doing and I voted for myself.
I thought I did a better job than you did.
Which was fantastic.
Honesty.
Let's talk about how these teams did or didn't get there. Region 6-4A girls at Summit. Semifinals, you had Ravenwood, Brentwood, Battle of the Woods, number 3. Ravenwood comes out on top 50-49. In the other semifinal, Hillsboro with a 46-30 win over Summit to set up a final between Ravenwood and Hillsboro. Ravenwood, it was the 3rd time they defeated Brentwood on the year. Summit had defeated Hillsboro twice up into that game, and like you said, Hillsboro just played well.
They did, and because Summit was playing well going into that game. But
they were.
Hillsboro's athletic, and Coach Stringfield does a good job with them. And but yeah, that was not the night for Summit. If Johnston goes 7 for 7 3-pointers on that night, probably a different outcome. But Hillsboro had a lot to do with that, I'm sure. And then, so many firsts this year for Ravenwood, and so many things that they haven't done in a long time. But I'd like to go back, even when they made the sub-state appearance, a season sweep of 3 times over Brentwood. I don't think that's been done.
Yeah, and a lot of that says something about the Brentwood program.
Right.
I mean, they were, we've talked about this many times. For so long in this league, it was the Ronnie Sigenthaler League in terms of girls basketball. Those days, obviously Coach Sig's not with us anymore, but those days are over.
Over.
A lot of parity.
Yes. Well, we've talked about it a lot. The coaching we've gotten a lot of, he would tell you that. Nothing against Coach Sig. He did a great job, had a great program. But John Wild and people like that weren't in the,
right.
Ron Brock weren't in the, you know what I'm saying? Which I know they're down now that we're 4A, 3A. Hard to keep up with all that. The coaching on the girls' side has definitely been raised for sure.
That's a definite. In that Ravenwood-Brentwood game, Reagan Grimes, 27 points, 13 rebounds. End of a career, I feel like we need to say it about Sydney Ryan, who's had just a great career in WCS, started out at Franklin, ends up at Brentwood. Caitlin Lorenzi, another young lady who's had a nice career that at Brentwood. On the Summit side, and I know Coach Wild loved this team, Sydney Wright, Claudette Runk, Bergen Ali, all young ladies who made a big difference in their programs. And listen, Summit to get in the district final for the first time in school history. That's a program that keeps climbing and climbing.
100%. And on Brentwood, Sydney Ryan, you mentioned she started at Franklin and then came, great career. Caitlin Lorenzi, she was on the team she was younger, but she was on the team with the Trushels and Amelia Osgood. Her 4 years there, I stacked those 4 years up with anybody in Brentwood Lady Bruin history. She was, her class, they won as many games, if not more than anybody in Lady Bruins history. They won a lot of games.
Very well said. Move on to the championship. Hillsboro defeats Ravenwood 37-28. So think about that. In 2 games against Summit and Ravenwood, 2 really good teams, Hillsboro gives up a total of 58 points. In fact, on that night, only 2 Ravenwood players scored.
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't happen very often. You get 15 from Grimes, 13, I think, from Flynn. 2 players scoring. It's going to be tough if only 2 players score.
Yes.
So
and that's really, I saw that. That's hard to believe.
it is.
And that score is a little deceiving too, because it was 2020, tied 2020
right.
in the 4th quarter. I'm guessing Hillsboro got to the foul line, maybe?
Well, and they really ended up locking Grimes up. Of all the games I've watched this year, it's really the only game that I've seen Grimes frustrated. And I've watched several. They just did a great job on her defensively.
She still had 15.
Yes. Way to lock her down, 15 points. But really didn't get any help from her teammates, and not a knock on them. It really says a lot about the defense that Hillsboro was playing. The result of that game, that causes Ravenwood, now they move on to the sectional round, the sub-state round. They had to travel to top-ranked Cookeville. They end up losing 64-47, just 1 game from the state tournament. Cookeville 16-6 ahead at the end of the 1st quarter, and Ravenwood really couldn't get back in the game, get any closer than that. Grimes ends her career with 25 points. Elizabeth Flynn again with 8. And these last 2 games, those complementary players just couldn't do what they did during the season. Again, not a knock on them. Says something about the defense the last 2 teams were playing.
Very tough. And you'll see it in other games. Sometimes losing that region championship, not all bad. In this one, for Ravenwood's case, I think Ravenwood beats Beach.
I do too. I do too.
Cookeville, man. Cookeville's good. Cookeville might win the whole thing. But, yeah, that was they really needed to stay away from them if they could.
Well, congratulations to Coach James. I know he's young in his career as a head coach. There at Ravenwood, done a nice job, and they'll have a good team coming back too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No Grimes, but
right.
they'll be tough.
Hard to replace. You don't replace her. You build the team a different way next year. But they've got players.
You just celebrate the fact that you had her.
That's right.
But you think about, you go back to the Will Hester State Championship team there at Ravenwood. The year they thought they were going to win it, talent-wise, they get beat in the final. The next year, with less talent, so to speak, they win it.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't know.
Well, and the same thing, he built the team differently. The year they thought they were going to win it, they had, what was his name? Brown at quarterback. They're flinging that thing all over the place. They came back the next year, and it was a lot more run-oriented, but came back and won it. So you're right. You just do it a different way.
That's called coaching.
Coaching. Isn't that funny?
Coaching. All right, let's take a look at the boys' side. Ravenwood 55-38 winners over Franklin on 1 semifinal. First region championship in school history for Ravenwood. We're all very proud of Coach Whitlock.
For the dean of Wilco basketball boys coaches.
You had to be proud for and of Coach Whitlock. And in fact, that's today's gem. Previously, Ravenwood was 0-5 in region semifinal games. Before that game, it's a season sweep of Franklin. They beat them 3 times. They jump out to a 7-0 lead early. It's 31-20 at the half. Franklin ends up cutting into that lead 31-25, but then 14 straight missed shots. That's pretty incredible because Franklin, very good offensively, and it had a lot to do with Ravenwood, and it starts with, don't care what anybody says,
Your man.
Lee Millett.
Yeah.
Dude's getting it done defensively.
You're a big Lee Millett fan.
Love Lee Millett for a lot of different reasons, but that guy can play.
Yeah, and his defense, his offense too. He's making big shots. He's confident. He's an athlete, but his defense is changing games. And this not that the teams before, some of the teams before, but we've talked about that. I think these are tough games they're winning, and I think Ravenwood's got a tough makeup this year. Funny how that goes hand in hand. And Millett, what did he do in the fall? Did he play for the Tennessee Bandits on the Joe Cool circuit? What did he do?
He stepped up and
he played football.
That's some great football. And he's going to be playing.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's not at all.
But it's okay. You can do it. You You can play both. And like we've always talked about, I know everybody's getting tired of hearing it. I think the best teams are a good mix.
I'd 100% agree.
You want, hey man, we know this. Nobody shot more shots in the offseason than Jet Montgomery. He's putting in time, he's putting in work. You want guys like that, but then you also want to put a Lee Millette with them, in my opinion.
I think it makes the best teams.
Yeah.
Franklin, Jack Medalley ends up with 10. He was a little banged up. Final game for Noah McGee and Tom Fortner, certainly two senior leaders for Franklin that they're going to miss.
Can I say something? I'm sorry. Because we talk about Millette, we talk about DJ Starr. A name that keeps popping up is Lamuno, Andrew Lamuno. You know, not scoring 30 points, but, you know, he's strong on offense, strong on defense, hustle plays. He's a guy who keeps popping up.
No question, DJ Starr. You know, a lot of seniors leading that team for sure. Now, the other semifinal, Columbia had beaten Independence twice during the season.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 times.
No.
In fact, that game was fairly tight, something like 21-17 at the half. And it was interesting watching that game. Indy gets ahead 8 or 9 or 10 points. And as I was watching, I think the score was something like 43-30, and Indy was getting up and down the floor. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is the only way Columbia gets back in the game. Well, what do I know? It ends up 75-46, and literally Independence ran Columbia out of the gym.
Out of the gym.
And a big dunk by Jet Montgomery. I think he surprised himself for his 1,000th point.
I was going to say, he's a sophomore. He dunks two-handed. It's his 1,000th point. How do you script that? And then I think you're the one who told me this, but I was talking to my son. I said, I didn't even know Jet could dunk. And supposedly Jet didn't know he could dunk. Are you the one who told me that?
Yeah, well, Coach Wilkins was telling me, you know, he'll do the old throw it off the backboard or take 75 steps before he dunks, and you know, after practice. But this was a legit two-handed dunk
For his 1,000th point.
It was crazy.
I mean, you can't script that any better.
In the region semis.
In the region semis, and in the video, the Indy Nation, the student section went nuts. It was awesome.
You hold me. Everybody's getting held back. It's great.
It was over. It was probably over anyways, but it was over.
It was really. That gym was electric. Now you move on to the championship. You've got Ravenwood Indy, matchup number 4. Indy wins twice in the regular season. Ravenwood wins in the district semis in overtime. This one goes to overtime. Ravenwood comes out with a 59-52 or 59-55 win. Independence led this thing 40-32 with 4 minutes to go. Into regulation, the thing gets tied. Indy has three. Great looks at the basket. Ends up not working out for them. Millette ends up as the MVP. And then, you know, you were talking about this earlier. Sometimes you win the region final, sometimes you lose it. On paper, at least, Indy's better off.
No doubt about it.
And why is that?
Well, I don't think anybody saw Lebanon defeating Beach in their final. Beach's first loss of the season. You know, I know you're very proud of your good friend Jim McDowell, Jimmy Mack, the Lebanon coach. That was a big win. I don't think outside of the Lebanon faithful, and maybe not even the Lebanon faithful, anybody saw that happening. But Beach gets their first loss, so now Ravenwood, you would think winning that region final, that meant you were going to host Lebanon. Not so fast, my friend. You're hosting 33-1 Beach or whatever they are, which they're beatable, but they're long. You've seen them.
They're good.
They're long. They're athletic. They can shoot. It's going to be a tough contest, but so is Lebanon as well.
If you were to ask me as a coach, if I'm coaching one of those teams and you gave me a choice, do you want to play Beach at home, and generally that matters in that sub-state game, or do you want to play Lebanon on the road? That'd be a tough choice.
Yes.
It would be a tough choice.
I think I know what you picked.
Some of it's matchup, right?
Yes.
I'd probably say go on the road.
Well, no doubt. And Lebanon's not Lebanon. Well, Lebanon is too, kind of. Beach is so long.
They are. They're
really, really long. Long.
Now, I will say this, in terms of if we're trying to get 2 teams in the state tournament, which we are out of that region, I think the matchups are the ones that both could make it. Beach.
So you don't like Indy Beach, or you don't like Lebanon and Ravenwood?
I don't like them as much.
Yeah, okay.
I really don't. I like them both with a chance against Lebanon, but I think the better chance against Beach is Ravenwood because they play such great man-to-man.
Yeah.
I think it matters. Also talking about Beach, it's pretty interesting. I saw where 33 wins, that tied a school record. Interestingly enough, if you go back and look at some history there at Beach, which I know a little Beach history, the coach, Kip Brown, when he was playing for Boot Scott, this was before my tenure, they were 33-1. Region final, fourth time they played for the year, they lose to Gallatin.
Wow.
33-2. They go to the sectional, they lose to David Vaughn in Whites Creek, 33-3. Could it be deja vu that they have 33 wins, they lose in the region final and the sectional?
I'll take it.
Only time will tell.
I'll take it. I did know that they were that the last time they had that many wins, my good friend David Wilkinson was.
That's right, 91. He was on that team.
Yeah, he was filming in on that. Skippy was on that team.
Yeah.
And now he's the coach of this one.
That's right.
And, so, pretty cool.
We'll see how it goes.
I hope you're right. I hope they end up 33-2. Don't you?
Well, listen, I was talking to my old principal from Beach, Mr. Frank Cardwell, and I said, look, one of our teams is going to play Beach. Obviously, I've got a lot of love for Beach. You know, in a lot of ways, I'm torn because it's, I spent 20 years there. And he said, no, you have no reason to be torn. He said, I was a big Franklin Simpson guy until Beach started writing me my checks.
That's right. Ann Bowden, Bobby Bowden at Florida State, Tommy Bowden's at Clemson. They're playing. Of course, which they should. They're overhyping this thing. Big deal. They ask her, who are you cheering for? Your son is on this sideline and your husband is on this sideline. Who are you cheering for? She said, that's not even a question. I'm cheering for the sideline that writes the checks.
That's great. I get it.
Yeah.
I definitely get it. All right, let's talk a little Page girls basketball. Very exciting. They make it back to the state tournament. Last year was the first year. They make it 2 years in a row. Region semis. Hey, Lincoln County, congratulations.
Thanks for playing.
We beat you twice during the regular season. You upset us in the district semis by 2, but then we get a rematch in the region semis, 58-25. We beat you by more than you scored. So I would say that they evened the score, so to speak.
They evened the score. They made them mad. I think we've talked about this and with other teams. Sometimes it's good to get a loss late, going into the tournament. And I think all that did was just laser focus the Lady Patriots.
Boy,
they came back and they took care of business. If you were wondering if it was a fluke that last time, there's your answer.
And I believe your prediction was that Coach Brock would be wearing his captain's hat.
I did predict that.
And it turned out that way.
Turned out that way.
33 points.
Could be that he was wearing it a little bit later, too. Seems to be a recurrent thing.
So Page ends up losing to Upperman in the region championship. Mackenzie Cochran, Brayley Bushman on the all-tournament team. But I think going in, they knew if you make the region final, don't care who you play, you're going to win the region tournament. The only thing they had to do is they had to head to Knoxville. 68-32 win over Fulton. Lily Wilkin, 25 points, 11 rebounds. Mackenzie Cochran, 19. Blowout City, 36-point win in the sectional on the road.
36 points. Hey, 35 points is Popcorn City, Boat Race City in football. Coach Brock went to Bearden. That's in Knoxville.
Yes.
And I think
They did a little shoot around at Bearden that day.
did a little shoot around, went and, had a little nostalgia and the Bearden Bulldogs, and he showed them where he came from. I think Coach Brock had throwbacks and memories of the Vol Navy going down the Tennessee River. Because that's how the Page Patriots were coming home after the smackdown that was laid down on the Fulton Lady Falcons. Again, this would have been Boat Race City in football. This is a running clock. They had runs of 20 and 9 in the second quarter and 28 in the third or vice versa.
On the road.
That's a tail kicking.
And that's not a short trip.
It's not a short trip.
I bet it was a fun trip on the way home.
Had all summer long drinking on the Donzie, Tennessee River. Stopped by Calhoun's, got a little barbecue. Coach Brock, the boat captain.
Now they get Dyer County, which we'll look at that bracket in just a second, the state tournament. both in their second state tournament appearance. Both are 0-1, so obviously somebody's going to get a win. Page boys, they defeat White County, which a lot of people were surprised. 45-34 in the semifinals before they lost to Stone Memorial, a very good team.
Yep.
57-48 in the championship game. Grant Snyder, Ryan Lang, both in double figures, both on the all-tournament team. Now, at the taping of this show, they're traveling to Fulton, same as the girls. On that girls' side, on the boys' side, it's a little tougher task. They've won 13 straight. Jody Wright's just a legend, not only there, but really in the state of Tennessee. So certainly the Page boys will be heavy underdogs in that game. But sometimes when you're underdogs, you never know.
Never know. And I like this Page team's got some grit. They're tough.
They do.
Coach Street, I think he walked into a tough situation. I think he's doing a great job. I know you do too. And you know, the thing when you look at this 3A, we were looking at it last week, more than any of the other classes, the travel. My goodness,
It's awful.
Fulton, that's not like, you know, at least Farragut you save 30 minutes or whatever. It's on the other side of Knoxville. These are some serious trips, and even, you know, White County and the Uppermans and things like that. So they got a long bus ride, but I think they got a chance. You're right. But the Fulton boys is a different story than the Fulton girls.
Well, and I can assure you this, the Page schedule's tougher.
Yes.
Littered with 4A teams that are good 4A teams.
I think that was smart.
I think it was very smart. Let's talk a little Fairview boys. Reached the region championship for only the second time in school history. You can rewind to 2018. They had the same situation. They were knocked out by Nolensville in the champion, or they were defeated 53-52 in the championship. And then they turn around and have to go to Stratford. Everybody thought Fairview was going to get killed in that game. Yeah. It ended up being like 69-60, and they had a real chance late in that game. So they make it to the region championship after defeating Harper in the semis. They lose to our boy Les Trotter's old school, 71-64. Wes Long coaching that team, a Trotter disciple.
And did you see who one of his leading scorers is?
Little Trotter.
Yes.
So no shame in that loss.
No. Summertown's good.
They're good. Kennedy Pendergrass, Carter Durham on the all-tournament team. And listen, they've talked about it all year. Probably as much as any team they've outwardly talked about it. This is the game they wanted to be in.
Yes.
They wanted to be back in the sectional. They didn't really care who it was.
Yes.
They've got a very tough Milan team, winners of 14 straight games. And, you know, not that these things don't matter at all, actually. The only common opponent I could find was Hickman County. Fairview beats them by 13. Milan beats them in the region 27.
Right.
Again, what?
Who's subbing, who's not?
Who knows?
Who does Sizzletown play, do you know? You like that? Yeah.
I think it's Gibson County.
I think they could both be in the state tournament.
Well, I think they've got a shot.
Yeah.
For sure. Tate, let's talk picks here. We're going to go through that girls bracket here in just a second, that AAA bracket. So last week, I was down 2, but the Ravenwood boys, they defeat Franklin. They get in the final, so I catch up 1 there. And then the final, no blood in the final because you had picked Franklin to win. I had picked Indy to win.
But both whiffed. But
I got 1 back there. So 24-12 overall. You're 25-11. And listen, I've got you. I want to have full disclosure to the.
This is where we both went.
To the audience here. On the girls' side, we just ended up saying who we thought would win because we were both kind of confident it was going to be Ravenwood Summit. We just said who's going to win.
Correct.
You said Ravenwood. I said Summit. Neither team won.
Correct. Because due to Hillsboro.
So I feel like maybe you ought to get a half there, but hey, the game's the game. You didn't bring it up. It's what happens.
Can't change the rules after you get beat.
Can't change the rules. So here's what we're going to do. At the time of this taping, at least, we got the boys sectional coming up and the girls state tournament in AAA coming up. So we're going to go through the picks. We're going to pick them all.
Okay.
Okay?
This there could be a lot of.
There could be some movement.
Yes.
All right, we're going to start off with the boys sectional. You're going to start.
I've been saying it for 2 months.
Fairview at Milan.
John Tucker, he ain't coaching. He's gone. Ernest Fields. The Milan Bulldogs aren't what they used to be. Are they the Bulldogs? I think they are. I'm going the Fairview PMS 109 Yellow is coming to town, baby. And Coach McCoy's coming back, cutting down to some nets.
Listen, I'm going to be the first to admit, Fairview, I hope I miss this one. I'm picking.
There's a butt coming.
I'm picking Milan just so we can. I got to make a move here. So I'm trying to pick.
I got you, Coach.
I'm trying to pick my spots here. So I hope I miss it. If you would have picked Milan, I was going to pick Fairview, but I had to go opposite there.
I like your style.
Second one, Page at Fulton. Great year for Page. That trip to Fulton and what they've got waiting on them, I think, is a tall task. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Fulton on this one.
You know, a lot of times when you get a team like Fulton, they're loaded with talent, but a team like Page has a chance because there could be a guy with a red nose coaching that team. Not so with Fulton. They're athletic and they're well coached. I think Coach Street's done an unbelievable job, but that's a tough road trip, man. I'm going Fulton.
All right, game 3, boys' side now. You're up, Tate. Independence at Lebanon.
This is tough. Independence is good. I mean, Lebanon's good. They're long, and they got a couple of really good players. But I think if Independence is hitting, if they shoot over 60%, which they're capable of doing, a lot of those will be threes. They're tough to beat. If they don't shoot well, they're going to get beat. But I think they're going to shoot well. I'm going with Independence. Montgomery has 27.
The first game I said I wanted to pick it different. Not this one. I'm going Indy. I'm going Indy. I think it's going to be tough, but I'm going Indy.
Okay.
And then the final sectional game, we've got Ravenwood versus Beach. I'm going home court.
Let's go!
I'm going, listen, hadn't been to this spot, but sometimes when you haven't been, that's the time you really take advantage of your opportunity. 72-54 in the regular season. Ravenwood led at the half. Ravenwood was tied going the fourth quarter. I think they've learned something from that. I think Ravenwood has improved more than Beach since then. I mean, Beach is undefeated, right?
Beach is undefeated.
Until Lebanon. But I think Ravenwood, the way they're playing and the way they match up, their defense, Ravenwood has enough athleticism to guard Beach. I'm going Ravenwood.
And that crowd, that gym is going to be electric. They're going to have those score vision boards, man. Those things are going to be amped up. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a dogfight, but I'll go the other side. I'll go Beach. I hope I'm wrong. Kind of like I hope you're wrong on Fairview Milan. I hope I'm wrong.
And is it safe to say if I would have picked Beach, you'd have picked Ravenwood?
Yes. But I knew you weren't. I also knew there was no way you were picking Lebanon, so I almost. I think Lebanon's. You can't take away what they did, but I think Beach is better than Lebanon.
All right, let's look at the 3A.
Even though they beat them. But.
Let's look at the 3A girls bracket. Okay, we got Page in there with 30 wins taking on Dyer County. On their side of the bracket, you've got 27-8 Greenville versus 22-2 Jackson Southside. On the other side of the bracket, you have Upperman versus Elizabethton, Creekwood versus Fayette Ware. I'll start. I think it's Page Greenville. I think Page in the final.
I like it. Me?
Yeah, so you got
Page, Greenville in the final.
Oh, there's a little difference. So you said
Page goes one more round than last year. Keep taking steps.
Okay. Other side, I'm saying Upperman, Creekwood, Upperman in the final.
I'm going Upperman, Fayette Ware, Upperman in the final.
Okay. So we've got 2 differences there, and obviously it's going to be 3 because I have Page winning it. You
Yes.
had Page getting beat. I'm saying the Patriots bring this thing home.
Wow, that'd be huge.
It'd be huge. And you're going with, I'm
Greenville.
assuming, over Upperman.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe you know something I don't. I had Greenville, losing to Page, so yeah, you've had.
The eventual
You're saying that's the state championship.
If Greenville was on the other side, do you think it'd be Greenville, Page?
I think it's
Or
Upperman.
do you think it's Page, Upperman?
Yeah,
all the way?
and Page Upperman, which we didn't mention, I don't think, in that final,
Three points.
50 to 47.
Yep.
So,
At Upperman, which is not an easy place to play.
well, and here's the thing too. I think with Page, and Upperman's been there too, so it's hard to really say, but it seems like it happens a lot in 2A and 3A now for girls. I'm gonna call 3A kind of sort of like old 2A. People from the same district and region play. It's notorious for them playing in the final.
Yes.
And I think it's happening here. The region championship ends up being the state championship.
Well, in the past, it's been Upperman, Jackson County.
That's right.
Summertown, Loretto.
Yes.
Or Loretto.
Loretto. I like when people spell Loretto with an A or Loretto with an A. Like, no, that's how they say it. But it's very confusing.
A lot of Wilco people I've heard, they love to go down to that quaint little town, Santa Fe. Don't call it that down there, you get in trouble. Santa Fe.
That's great. That's great. Tate?
Lafayette.
Yeah, we got a lot going on, Tate.
I'm assuming we'll be able to see you at the state tournament next
You
week.
better believe it.
I mean, this week.
And hopefully next week. But
No
I can
doubt.
tell you this, if we don't have teams playing, I'm not going.
Yeah, that one
Are you on the
conference.
state tournament? Not if we're not in it. I was like that as a coach. I went one time.
I don't blame you.
And it was as I had a team I thought could make it the next year. So we went and watched it together. And then we went back to back.
You weren't one of the, hey, I can remember, I'm not going to name any names, but I can remember back in the day, some of those guys, they'd come up, literally, they'd get up there on Tuesday night, they wouldn't go back till Saturday both weeks, would they?
And they spent about $3,000 at the school and booster club money too. That's a different story.
They were professional development.
Tate's going to be fun.
Can't wait. I think we're going to be well represented, man. I hope I'm wrong on some of these games, but
Well, we got to
you know, it'd only be right if the basketball guy won the basketball picking contest.
Gosh, if I don't, it's. I'm always talking trash to you about football, but you always win. So yeah,
How the fans doing? Do we know, or are they not doing this?
we're not. No, this is this
Let's
little. We
just-
did.
yeah.
Now, in my defense, we also had some other. We picked some wrestling. We
Correct.
Picked, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not been straight basketball. Although I think.
Go ahead and lay the.
I think if it was straight basketball, you'd still be winning. So
There's going to be some separation come next week.
no doubt about it.
I don't know, not really. Well, maybe. You could be.
Could be.
Milan, you need Milan and Ravenwood.
But I hope I lose.
I
that
need
one.
Fairview and Beach.
I hope I lose to Milan.
I hope I lose Beach.
But then I hope in the state tournaments where I make it up.
That's right.
All right, Tate. Thanks for being here.
Who's the killer? Who's the killer in 4A? Cane Ridge,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
just because of B. Miller?
They're pretty good. And they were there last year, and
Good coach.
yeah, done a good job. I mean, Beach, a lot of people think Beach.
You know, we don't want to be ugly, but would it be fun maybe someday to have like the biggest, like the team, because I got a couple that jump out that like, how did they not win a state championship?
Yes. That might be a segment.
Put your thinking cap on. I've already got two that are very strong contenders. One of them's from about 1993 or 94, I think. They're both right around mid-90s. I'm talking. I could have coached that club.
That'll be a fun segment. Was Gary Smith
Yes.
involved in one?
Yes. Yes. And Kelly Jolly Harper's brother was involved in the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, Kelly had kind of a rough weekend.
Yep.
The Cats beat the 1, 2, and 3 seeds in women's
I
basketball.
was going to say that about Ravenwood, but man, you're seeing it at Kentucky, your place, man. It's, you know, success breeds success.
It does.
And I think that's one thing Ravenwood's got going into, well, not like beach football is not successful, but, you know, you got a successful football program, and you know.
That's right. It matters.
It matters.
It matters.
It changes the culture of the school.
It does. It definitely does. Tate, appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.